You're listening to Season 6, Episode 19 of Strategy Simplified. In this conversation, you'll hear Xi's story of breaking into consulting at Kearney. Xi shares about battling self-doubt in the interview process, the value of networking and the part it played in her landing the role, and her strategic approach to case prep. We came away from the conversation feeling inspired. Let's not waste any more time. Here's our conversation with Xi. Xi, welcome to Strategy Simplified and Management Consulted. We're excited to hear your story, hear about how you broke into consulting, and just get some of those details and some of those insights from what you did to succeed, moments and obstacles encountered, and how you overcame those. And so thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
For sure. So can you start by just sharing a little bit about who you are? Are you in school? Where are you going to school? What does that look like for you right now?
Yeah. So right now I'm a full-time MBA student. I'm in my last term here. So I go to University of Toronto, Rodman MBA program. Right now it's a lot more chill than my first year. So I'm happy about that. So I'm going to start my full-time position at Kearney, hopefully by the end of summer this year. So I'm really looking forward to take a little bit of break before I have to start working again.
Absolutely. Get a few months to chill and take it easy before diving into a busy season. And so you let the cat out of the bag. You have an offer from Kearney. And so that's exciting. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Can you describe your journey of landing on consulting as a career? Why consulting for you?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my undergrad, I actually studied biopsychology, so something totally different from business. But just basically after graduation, I decided to kind of challenge myself in kind of a different area. So I actually moved to Vancouver from Victoria, where my school was. So I actually worked in a startup for 4 years in a customer operations position. So I guess I was just really kind of interested in understanding the business, of a startup and helping contribute to its growth. So I know that I want to kind of move on from that position because I was more involved in kind of technical implementation side of things. But what I really love to do is actually kind of the initial part of the implementation, which is the consulting our clients and understanding their current business problem, their business process, and how our product and our solution can map to solve their problem. So I really enjoyed that part, but unfortunately it wasn't the major part of my work. So I really want to pursue a career path where I can kind of move upstream a little bit in that process and just really work with the company leaders to help understand their problem better and help them identify the best solutions rather than just implementing a solution that has already been decided on. So at that point, I just decided to pursue kind of MBA program and brush up on my business fundamental, just kind of pursue that path from there.
Absolutely. So you saw what you like to do. You weren't doing enough of it in your current role, so you decided, I need to go somewhere else to get this. Yeah. And then you went to B school to brush up on those skills. And so you're in B school, you're about to finish up. What was your process of evaluating different firms and ultimately why did you end up choosing Kearney?
Yeah. So when I first kind of started networking with all these companies and just going to all the information sessions, I started to feel like a lot of them sounds very similar to me, to be honest. And then, of course, each of those consulting firms will try to kind of differentiate themselves in various ways. But I think at the end of the day, for me, the most important thing is, when I try to connect with someone, like, do I get the vibe that this is a person that I could be working well, or this is kind of the office culture that I will be enjoying being part of. So I think I chatted so many people from different consulting firms. I would say I probably connected the most number of people from Kearney. I feel like we connected really well. And then also I feel like in terms of the company culture that I want to be part of, I don't want it to be kind of in a company that's too huge that becomes it becomes a little bit bureaucratic or kind of too hard to reach out to people from across departments. So I feel like Kearney has that good combination that it has, still top-notch kind of consulting expertise, talented people, but at the same time, the company isn't so huge. Everybody is still very down to earth, easy to connect to. So I think that is a big factor for me coming from a startup, kind of a smaller company background.
Absolutely. Okay, so what I'm hearing is you talked to a bunch of people at Kearney and a bunch of other different firms as well, and you really liked that they were down to earth. You liked the office culture. You liked the little bit smaller size, but still a very established player in the field.
Yeah.
How did you get to talk with so many people? What was your process? Did you reach out through LinkedIn? Did you have friends? How did you get to be in touch with them?
Yeah, so I would say kind of like I went through the recruiting path 2 times. The first time was for my summer internship. So I actually didn't land a consulting offer. I ended up working in a bank. But the second time around, I was very determined. But at the same time, I already had a lot of the connections from the first time around from all the information sessions. So I really leveraged those connections and kind of send out a lot of LinkedIn requests. So basically, I set a goal for myself to, talk to at least 4 or 5 people per week. So that's kind of basically the process starting in June last year. So I did that for quite a few weeks. So that really gave me a good kind of a cadence of connecting with the people and just getting to have a good conversation about people's work and their interest, their passion. So yeah, so that's basically is just kind of a habit that I want to build for myself.
Okay, so you said you set a goal for yourself of I want to talk to 4 to 5 people a week, and
yeah.
How many people do you estimate you reached out to in contrast to how many phone calls you had?
Right. I feel like for the second round, like when I was recruiting for full-time, I got a little bit higher response rate. Again, because I already connected with a lot of those contacts during the first time. So I feel like I definitely reached out to probably more than 10 consulting firms. And then I would estimate probably 4 to 5 on average per firm. So that's 40 to, let's say, 50 people that I talk to. But I have to send, I would say for the second time around, for every 5 requests I send, there will be probably 1 response. So that's
pretty good.
That's a lot of, I send a lot of LinkedIn messages.
You persevered and you sent those messages till you got what you're looking for.
Yeah. It's in the end, it's all worth it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, just to recap this part of your journey, we always recommend talking with people at the firms, networking, get your foot in the door. Not only can you learn a lot about firm culture and the people, and if that's actually something you want, but you can also get that referral to an interview. But you just got to ask. So thanks for sharing
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about preparing and the case interviews. I know you went through the process twice. Can you just start at the first time, your first go around, and then we'll get to the later parts in a little bit as well. What did your prep look like? Yeah.
So I guess my prep looks a little bit different for the first time and the second time. So for the first time, it's definitely chaotic because I, coming without any knowledge about what consulting is about, what case is about. So I started actually by just reading some consulting books that I found on the internet just by myself, just to kind of understand what the concepts are. And then when school started, and we're all part of the consulting club, so we went through more kind of structured sessions with our seniors and with our school kind of coaches to understand to have more dedicated practices. But I think for me, I didn't really I did a lot of peer practice. So with my other friends who also want to get into consulting, or just with my school teachers, I feel like I didn't do enough practices with actually industry professionals. And then that's actually a big difference, the big differentiator for the second time around, when I primarily just focused on networking with industry professional consultants, and then ask them to give me some qualitative feedback. So I think that makes a huge difference for the second time around. But again, for the first time, it's really trying to capture all the feedback I've got from my peers, from my school, and also just my own reflection. But again, I didn't really have a very organized way to kind of systematically review the feedback and then dedicate my session to improve upon those feedback. So it's just really a lot of taking in information and then just see where it goes. So yeah, I think I got some interview requests, but I didn't really land any offer. But in terms of the second time around, so, having that experience for the first time, it was really helpful. I kind of reflected upon what I really needed to actually land an offer. Mm-hmm. So first, basically I break down that process. The first, I have to get an interview. What do I need to do there? I need to brush up on my application materials. I need to networking, to get people, want to see my resume. And then second, I need to, crash the cases, the behavior and the cases, right? So basically, I just list everything I need to do in each of those steps. And what I did is to create a schedule, like for the entire summer, what I need to focus on for each part of the process. And I just stick to the schedule. And then I think what it does to me is, first, it really helps me manage my nerve, because oftentimes I have this kind of a sense of overwhelming feeling because I feel like I have to do so many things and it's impossible to do all at once really well. And if I don't see kind of a major progress, sometimes I get scared or get nervous, just have a lot of self-doubt. So having that schedule, it becomes easy to track your progress and having more visibility. And then the second thing, what I did really well, I think very differently the second time around, is the networking, as I mentioned. So actually networking did have a very huge impact on me landing offer from Kearney, because the person that I networked, one of the person I networked from Kearney actually was my first round interviewer, which was really surprising. And I was very nervous when I did my first round, and I feel like I didn't do a very good job for my math portion. So I was very scared that I wasn't going to be invited back. But actually he did kind of push me to the second round, and he gave me really good feedback in terms of, how to practice my math, to perform well for the second round. So I feel like if I don't have that initial network connection, it's gonna be very hard to say, what that person will see in me if I fail like a certain part of the interview. And then also for my last round, I asked the partner, why did they pick me? So one thing he said is, one of the big consideration is that he knows that I reach out to so many people in their office, and I seem to show a genuine interest in understanding their culture. So that's a big consideration. So I feel like networking definitely not only helped me land the interview itself, but helped me get through the entire process. So I would definitely recommend that.
We'll be right back after this quick message. Feeling stuck in your case prep process? Join Black Belt. Black Belt is a structured consulting prep program that combines expert help with self-paced prep curriculum. You get 8 one-hour, one-on-one coaching sessions with an MBB coach. You get access to unlimited digital materials, and homework will assign you in between sessions to accelerate your progress. If you need to get interview ready quickly, join Black Belt today. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
And then I think the last thing I would say the second time I did was, again, just talk to as many kind of industry professionals as possible and take their feedback seriously, and having an organized way to work through all those feedback. And instead of just doing so many cases without specific purpose, without specific goal. So I feel like those 3 things really helps me kind of succeed the second time around.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, this is a lot of good information here. So you went from chaos to strategic.
Yeah.
You learned your lesson, and that helped you feel, helped calm your nerves, helped you feel like, okay, you actually know what you need to work on. It's not just everything at once, and then you get nothing done. And the importance of networking and of casing with people who know what they're doing and actually having a goal and getting that quality, constructive, sometimes painful feedback about how you can grow. And so going into the piece about case prepping with industry professionals, what did that look like? Did you just ask them if, hey, can you do a 1-hour case prep session with me? Or did you buy coaching? What did that look like?
Yeah, I think I took a combination of approach. So I talked to a lot of the professionals from my network just to see if they can case with me. And some of them did say yes. So that's how I got started. But I think gradually, because I have a goal, because there's a kind of a timeline in terms of the recruitment. So I want to be able to gain maximum amount of progress within probably a span of 2 to 3 months. So I don't want to leave that to the chance. I don't know who will get back to me. When are they going to be available? Can I get actually dedicated 2 to 3 very good, case partners per week? I just don't know. So I don't want to take any chances. So I guess that's why I subscribed to Management Consulted, and I got some really good sessions with some consultants here. And then I think the good thing about my experience here is that I found a few very good coaches that have different styles. So I kind of stick to I believe her name is Amy, and then so she walked me through the first couple of sessions. She has a really kind of systematic, like very organized way to give feedback that covers end-to-end cases, from the manner, how you talk to how you structure cases in every aspects. And she has very good pointers. So I feel like that is really helpful to give me kind of a full perspective on what I should, like what the caliber I should be kind of gearing up to. But I think progressively, like once I get better, I start to kind of try out different coaches and just get used to talking to different people, but still be flexible, but at the same time maintain the same level of kind of analytical rigor. So I think that really helps me kind of get up to speed during a very short period of time, and then just kind of get in time to go through the consulting interview process by the end of summer. So that was really helpful.
We'll be right back after this quick break.
Have you ever heard a new digital trend and thought to yourself, okay, does this really matter? Asking the right questions helps you cut through the noise and get down to what matters most. I'm Jim Hertzfeld, host of the What If, So What podcast, where we discover what's possible with digital and figure out how to make it real by asking what if, so what, and most importantly, now what? Subscribe and listen, and together we can turn big ideas into tangible actions so you can get shit done.
Awesome. So you decided to invest in yourself and say like, hey, I value this opportunity to break into consulting, as much. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to, pay for coaching and pay for people who are professionals in this and can help me take the next step and not leave it to chance.
Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing for me, because I feel like the first time around that I was just really learning the ropes, but now I really need to kind of scale it up, or however you want to say that. But I just feel like this is my time to sprint to the finish line, and I have to take kind of every opportunities I can, all the resources I can, to maximize my opportunity to get there.
Yeah. Are there any is there anything you wish you would have implemented in your first try? And just talk to somebody who was in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time going through the process. What mistakes would you beg them to avoid from your journey?
From my journey, yeah. I think the first time, like one thing I did the first time was a lot of times I let my emotions take me away from the process. A lot of times I look at my peers and they're all like, they're great. A lot of them are, I feel like in my mind, have like more impressive work background or have better grades in school. I just feel like I have a lot of self-doubt in that regards. And then, and then because of that, I feel like a little bit more distracted. I couldn't really focus on my goal, my process that I set for myself. I kind of feel like, okay, if this is such a competitive profession and there's so many great people here, why am I, if I'm working hard and other people are working harder, then it doesn't really matter, just based on the number, I probably wouldn't get in. So a lot of times I have that very negative self-talk in my mind, consciously or subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a very normal thing to have if you've never been down that path. But, just from my own experience, the second time around, I feel a lot calmer because I just know that it doesn't really matter. There are amazing people out there. It's really about how much work you put into this, because we all know there are people who never worked in consulting end up in top consulting firms. So it's really not about which company you work for or other things that you constantly tell yourself. It's really about how much work can you put into in this concentrated period of time, and how can you create a plan and have the discipline to stick to the plan and execute on that. So that's what really matters when you want to break into consulting in such a short period of time. So that's what I focused on for the second time, instead of being distracted, but now just really focused on doing the work, I know that that's necessary to do to get into consulting.
Yeah. Man, that's powerful stuff. Thanks for sharing. I think we can all take notes and learn from that about just the importance of staying in your own lane and just doing the task at hand, sticking to the plan, not looking what everybody else is doing, because that really doesn't help most of the time. So let's talk resume cover letter. Do you have any tips you can share for folks looking into consulting, what to include, what not to include, or any do's or don'ts for your resume or cover letter? And I know that's a lot, so if you want to just focus on one, that's great.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I did my cover letter also through Management Consulted, and it's very interesting because obviously I thought I had a pretty polished version just going through my kind of school coaches, which they did also did a lot of work to improve upon my resume and cover letter from my first drafts. But I think once I got back the final version from Management Consulted, I did feel like there's still a lot more that I can improve from the school version. I think the number one thing is there are a lot of interesting points about my experience that I didn't even think mattered or didn't think it would catch eyes for the recruiters. For example, I primarily focused on just my work experience, right? I didn't really focus too much on the first section, which is your school, your education, in what you did in school. So I just pretty much just left very minimum points, like my GPA, clubs I attended, things like that. But I think going through the process, we added so much color to that section, because before it was just a lot of blank space. But now we just added, for example, like you're selected for leadership program, 1 out of 5 people, and what did you do? What impact did you make in this program? Things like that. So I just feel like it's really good to think through all the experiences you have, whether it's work experience or education or volunteer work you've done. Like, what's the impact? What is the ultimate results that you have? And then also highlight how competitive that program is, for example. So, and then if you can put in some numbers to substantiate that, that's even better. So I would say, like, to try to use that real estate on the cover letter and resume as much as possible to highlight the impact and tell a story, and don't resort to, just telling your responsibilities, which is what I did for the first time around.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah, when we're working with clients on their resumes, we always tell them, focus on results, focus on impact. Don't just say what you did, because you can go a couple layers deeper than that. And which consulting firms, they're so competitive that you need to be able to stand out and highlight your achievements in the most effective way possible.
Yeah,
exactly. Awesome. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. I'm curious, once you start at Kearney, whenever you decide to do that, what do you most look forward to about your time in consulting?
Yeah, I'm really excited about just connecting with the people and working in a project team, because in my previous work, I work with clients' project team, but on our side, I'm kind of working solo. So right now, I'm really looking forward to working in a more collaborative way with my teammates. And I also heard they have pretty cool kind of social activities. So that's definitely what I'm excited about.
Awesome. Well, congrats again. We're excited to cheer you alongside your journey here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
For sure. So a couple final personal questions before we end our time today. Can you tell me, is there a career you could have gone into but didn't? And this can be as fun or serious as you want it to be.
Okay. I was actually considering going into product management before I went through MBA. I just thought, it's a very interesting, like very strategic position. So you need to take in a lot of information, like market, customer, competitor information, like company, competitive advantage, all that information, to decide on the product strategy. So I thought that would be a kind of a cool career to get into. But I'm happy about consulting. It's I feel like it just gives me so much more flexibility and more variety in terms of industries and cases. So I'm even more excited now.
You won't get bored easily.
Yeah.
Final question. Looking back at your work, your education, your life, can you share a moment where you thought that you couldn't succeed, where you thought there's no way I can do this, and share how you persevered and made it through and lived to tell another day?
Yeah, I think for me, probably the most important thing is to understand how much you want this career. Just check your motivation, why you want to go into consulting. What is the priority level of pursuing a career like consulting right now is in your life, and how determined you are. So I feel like all those like techniques and things you have to do needs to be powered by this motivation. And for me, the hardest part is kind of having that negative self-talk and getting frustrated during this process. So what I did was really going back to the basics. And if I get too frustrated, and I actually put up some positive affirmation, like put it up on my wall so I can see them all the time. just kind of remind myself some simple things, like nobody's perfect and you just need to kind of work hard. Just whatever positive affirmation that works for you. And also I kind of take care, my life, the rest of myself as well, like in terms of having a regular schedule, sleep enough, having a good diet, doing exercise. As I start to do kind of daily morning run, like for an hour, and that really helps me boost my mood and give me more energy throughout the day. So just really going back to the basics and taking care of your body and, having a good mindset, and also creating a regular schedule, like life schedule, but also your work, like study schedule, to help you get through the entire process. I think that's the most important thing.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on Strategy Simplified. I've certainly enjoyed talking to you. Thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to share my story.
Part of Xi's secret sauce for landing her role in consulting was her membership in Management Consultant's Black Belt Case Prep program. If you want the same results she got, consider joining the program that's helped thousands land offers at the world's top consulting firms. We'll get you ready for case interviews, and we'll edit your resume and cover letter. Learn more about Black Belt at the link in the show notes. We'll catch you next week.